Hi there, and welcome to Ambitious Single Moms Stories of Strength and Success. I'm Sonja from Your Success Story Single Mom Level Up Edition, and I'm thrilled to have you here with us today. I'm a mother of 3 wonderful daughters, and when my husband separated from me in 2017, he moved out on a Sunday, and the next morning my mother died unexpectedly. During this time, I was although in the middle of chemotherapy. Suddenly, I'm all alone with 3 small children. As a single mom and a businesswoman, I know firsthand how challenging and rewarding this journey can be. When I first became a single mom, I felt overwhelmed and uncertain about the future. But through support and consistency, I've managed to build a life that I'm proud of, both for myself and my 3 children. This podcast is all about celebrating the incredible stories of ambitious single moms who are not only raising their children with love and dedication, but also pursuing their dreams and building successful businesses. Each episode, we will dive into their journeys, exploring the heights and lows, the lessons learned, and the strategies they've used to overcome challenges. My goal is to inspire, motivate, and provide valuable insights for all the amazing single moms out there who are striving to create a better future for themselves and their families. Remember, you are not alone on this journey, and there are endless possibilities when you take charge of your life. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Ambitious Single Moms Stories of Strength and Success. My name is Sonja and I'm your host, and I'm beyond excited to introduce you today to my guest from Florida, Sierra Riddle. And she's a real powerhouse. And hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, and I hope you are as well.
Yes, I am really fine. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining me on this episode and sharing your story with all the other ladies outside there. So, maybe you can share a bit of your background. How old is or how many kids do you have? How old are they? And when did you get divorced? Or maybe you weren't even married?
Yes. So my story is a little different than most single moms, but I have a sneaking feeling there's actually more of me than what society wants to lead on. So I was in my young 20s. I think I was 21 years old when I got pregnant. And so when I met my son's father, I was about 20 to 21. And he had been off away for 10 years, right? 10 whole years away from our state and everything else. And told me that he had been married previously, but that they had been divorced and everything for 10 years, right? She had moved on with her life, this, that, and the other. So we were, dating and, doing the whole thing. And then surprise, I got pregnant. Well, they had previous children together, so they were still in contact from that. And when she found out that I was pregnant, she decided that that was the prime time for them to try to get their marriage back together.
Oh, okay, that's not very good or nice, or I don't know how to say it in
No.
English or express it in English. That's not
Yes.
very.
And she had kept his children from him, for many years, and was calling, telling him to come visit the kids, this and that. And so he did. And, and I was very understanding that, hey, she's saying I can go see my children now. I haven't seen them in all this time, this and that. So I was very understanding. Well, she got pregnant when he went up there. So I was already 3 months pregnant. So he decided to tell everybody that I was lying. It was not his baby. and that him and his wife were having a baby. And I was just looking for attention, this, that, or whatever, because he broke up with me to get back with his wife. And I'm like, that's a lie. Like, that's not what happened at all. But there was nothing I could do. And I had a very terrible pregnancy. I had what they call a rejection pregnancy. So the whole reason I found out I was pregnant is I thought I had severe food poisoning. I would not stop throwing up. It was like 2 weeks and I had just been throwing up all day. So of course, right? Oh, I must have like got something. Right? Oh, I did. I got a baby. So I went to the hospital and they did all these, tests and and they were like, oh my gosh, you're pregnant. And I'm all, what? Are you sure? Like, are you sure? Right? And they were sure and said that my body was rejecting it. So I needed to have a DNC, an abortion. And something just came over me and I knew that I could not do that. So I ended up losing 48 pounds in my first trimester and had a very high risk pregnancy. And my son actually ended up being born 2 months early. And so it was a very difficult time for me. And especially being abandoned and, everybody saying, that they all believed him, that I was crazy. I was just this and that. And I'm like, so I was like, all right, whatever. I moved from where I lived to Utah, where my mother lived, because there was a doctor there that specialized in high risk pregnancies. And so I moved there to get better care and to, be around my mom so I could learn about babies. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, went on with my life and, had my son. And the second that he was born, my son looks identical to his father.
Okay.
So as soon as he was born and I posted pictures of his mom called me and was like, that's my grandchild. And I'm like, not according to your son. Mm-hmm. And she's like, he's a liar. that's my grandchild. Right. And so, she, started getting involved with Landon and stuff, but he did not. And so fast forward, she had her baby and it was of African-American descent.
Okay.
And as you can see, we are not.
Yeah.
So that was a fun time for him, I'm sure. So at this point, I had already moved away, everything else. I had my son and we were, going on with life. His father never wanted anything to do with him, never called, never anything. Until a magical day that ruined my life. When my son was 2 years old, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. Oh. And that was just a very, very horrible thing. I can't even describe words for it unless you have ever been through it. There's really no way to describe it. It is a dark night of the soul. And through my son's cancer treatments, I had to do a lot of alternative treatments because he was sent home on hospice. And in fact, I've got a picture of my little sweetie pie, my little baby cat. Yeah. So it was very bad, and again, very hard to go through alone. I sat there and thought all the time, why does his dad not care about him? Right? Why is this all on me? All the different things, but it didn't matter at the time. There was a lot of work to be done. So through me, doing what I had to do for Landon, my son became the youngest American with a medical marijuana card. And that opened a huge can of media worms and just a bunch of stuff. So my son's father saw that we were on the news and then he wanted to care. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, he's not on the birth certificate. He has nothing to do with him. He never has. Right. And he got upset about that. That's my son. He has cancer. No, it's not. It's my son. Mm-hmm. You've never wanted anything to do with this child. But now that he's on the news and, famous for a very horrific situation we're going through, right now, you want to be involved. No. So I will say, shortly after that, my son's father was murdered. So he is, Landon's almost 15 now. He has been passed away for 11 years, 12 years, something like that. Mm-hmm. So, just from that one little, increment of my life, right, I had to deal with that. But then after that, there's, you can't really like blame a dead person for not being there, right?
Yeah, of course.
Because they're dead. So
So,
that kind of took away that, I guess, like resentment, hatred, like, why are you out living your best life and not dealing with this? And I am, right? All of those different things, it took it away because it didn't matter anymore.
yeah. So you were in your early 20s and you gave birth, and shortly afterwards, your son was diagnosed with cancer. How did you where did you take your strengths and your belief that you could go on?
Um, really, the only thing I can say is from God
Mm-hmm.
and from, my ancestors and my family. I come from a very, very long line of strong women.
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel like my great grandmother, my great great grandmother, like everybody rallied, to help and to be there. And my mom was right there with me and helped me, through a lot of it. But it was mainly God. I really can't explain to people because I get asked a lot actually about my son's story. How did I know, right, to give him this and that it would work and that it wouldn't do any of the bad things that, we've all been told that cannabis can do to children. And the only thing that I can say is, when I sat there and thought about it, okay, right, like, how you think about those things, you're just like, okay, like, is this really what we're gonna try to do now? This sounds crazy, right? And it's like I had this peace come over me. Like,
Yeah.
it just came over me and I heard this voice and it was like, Sierra, this is the way. And if you do it, he'll live. Okay, I believe you. I don't know who said that. Was that like Mushu? Was I like intercepting aliens? I don't know, and I don't care. But the only thing I can say is that it was God speaking to me because it seemed so outlandish in this world. Everybody told me I was wrong. And having that peace and that faith and just believing that it wasn't going to hurt him and it probably could help him, right? It really made it a lot easier for me. Just having faith that no matter what, my son is going to survive. I just need to find the things to help him do so. And so I started researching, and found all types of things, and it was successful. And so, I never, when I was a kid and they asked me in school what I wanted to be when I grew up, I said a marine biologist. I love the ocean. I just grew up in the desert, so it seemed ridiculous, right, to them. They were like, but I didn't care. But I did not think that being a single mom and then a successful business owner would have ever been what I wanted to be, because it wasn't. But I had to create my business because I could not work. So when you have a child, that has any type of health problem, it doesn't matter if it's cancer, right? We can talk epilepsy, cerebral palsy, right? Any of them. It is, you become a nurse for that child. You have to help them with everything, take care of them, the medications, the schedules, the therapies, right? It's a lot.
Yeah.
And usually people have a husband, right? I did not.
Yeah.
So that was a very difficult thing for me, that as a single mom, the world really does not care about us.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes, yeah.
Like, there's no programs for us, right? There's no like apartment buildings or excuse me, housing complexes set up just for single moms while you're there as a single mom. And as soon as you don't become a single mom, you can move out and someone else goes in, right?
Yeah.
There's, people say there's welfare, right? Well, I don't know if anybody knows how much it is, but it is not enough to live a good life, and much less, I don't want to assume, but are all of your children healthy?
Yeah.
Yes.
My kids
I'm
are.
so happy to hear that. Yeah, I never want to assume because there's a lot of me, right?
Mhm.
But I guarantee you, if I asked you, were your children expensive?
Absolutely. Children are expensive. Yeah,
It's
that's a
crazy,
lot. They
right?
have a lot of
Like, just all the daily things, their
absolutely.
wants, their needs, their little toys and trinkets, and if they want to
Yeah.
play sports, I mean, it's insane, right? It's an investment.
Yeah.
Now, imagine all those things plus all the other medical, we're having to pay co-pays. We're having to pay for medications all the time. And some of these kids have 10, 15 medications a month, right?
Mm.
There's all these different, things. A lot of times insurance will not cover a lot of
Yeah.
stuff for our kids. Like my son was disabled from cancer treatments and he could not walk. It gave him severe nerve damage and his insurance refused a wheelchair.
Mm. It's,
Was I supposed to just let him sit here and stare at the wall? No. So I bought one.
mm.
Right. And there's just so many things like that, people don't understand. So once you, have a child, number one, your money's just gone to begin with. But if you have a child with special needs or any type of health condition, it never ends. And plus, even though they have all these needs, you can't work,
Yeah.
right? You have to
Have to-
take care of them.
You have to be at home all the time. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that was, it seemed like an impossible situation, right? How, if there's no dad, right? And I had to move away from my family so my son could access the legal medical marijuana, right?
Mm.
My family lived in Utah. We had to move to Colorado, right? And of course, my family couldn't move with me, right? They had
Yes.
bought their house, just all the things, right? And so it seemed like I was being punished,
Mm-hmm.
right? By this world, by America, if you will, because I live in America. Because how is it that we are the greatest nation on earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And pediatric cancer is not rare, but yet we have no programs set up for people. A lot of people file bankruptcy so that they can get, the free low income healthcare for their children that have cancer. So it seems like unless you have, a husband, right? Wife, husband to go to work, which then you're still a single parent.
Yeah.
And then resentments get built. And then usually they end up divorcing because, well, how come you're not helping me? Right. Well, I've been at work all day.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
You never go to the appointments. You never go to work.
Yeah.
Right. So I was thankful that I didn't have to deal with that. Right. I think a lot of times we all think about what's happened to us and we take it like, in a bad way. Of course, I would have loved to have a husband and a dad for my son to be there and to do all the things and to help out with just all the things, like being able to take a shower by myself,
Mm.
right? Being able to multitask things like, oh, I need to go get the kids from school or I need to go to the grocery store. We just have to do all of it.
Yes.
But at the same time, I never had to deal with somebody not picking up after themselves,
Mm.
somebody needing their own time and space. Like, oh, I'm just really stressed out. I can't deal with this right now.
Yeah. Mm.
It does. When your kid has any type of health problem, it doesn't matter. You have to,
You have to
right?
be present
So
all
I
the
didn't have,
time.
yeah. So I felt that it was like a blessing for me, right? That I got to make all the decisions. I didn't have to ask anybody their opinion. I got to move whenever I wanted, right? I've moved like 9 states in 12 years. If you have a dad with for those children, you have to ask them.
Yes,
I didn't have to
absolutely.
deal with,
Yeah.
like, how come dad said he was going to come get me this weekend and he didn't?
Mm.
I'm so glad I've never had to deal with that with my son because kids are smart
Mm.
and they know when parents are lying to them, when they're manipulating them, when they say, oh yeah, I'm going to do that for you, or I'm going to be here, or I'm going to do this. And then they don't. And it just creates more wounds in these little humans' hearts. And then we all get to deal with them when they turn 18.
Yeah, I luckily didn't have this situation, but yeah, it's horrible. And as you said, it's on the one side, every situation has a good side, but it's also difficult sometimes. And
Yes.
yeah, you can see it like this or like that, and you have to do the best for you
Yep.
and
And I
take
always
this
tell
out of it.
people, just for me personally, I try to see the things that happen in life that it's not happening to me, it's
Yeah,
happening for me.
for me, yes.
And I
Absolutely.
used my son, that very horrible thing that happened to him and to me. And I used that as a level up as in my single mom life. So, I started learning how to make products for my son, and mainly because all of the dispensaries and stuff were so afraid. They had never seen a child with a card. They were like, oh no. So I created Landon's Health Hut, which is my business, which is now almost 13 years old.
Wow.
That's like, what? Most small businesses fail in the first 2 years.
Yeah, congratulations. Amazing.
Thank you. And it takes them usually 5 years to be profitable.
Yeah.
I've been profitable since my very first year. I never took a business loan. My family didn't help me, anything. I did it all myself. And I hand make all of my products. I grow them myself in Oregon on my farms, and then I hand make it all myself because it's important to me. But it seemed like at the time that it was like, so I have all this bad stuff happening to me, right? Like my kid got cancer. His dad doesn't even want to acknowledge his existence, right? I'm, dealing with all of this, having to move, the world judging me for trying alternative cancer treatments, right? On my 2-year-old child, right? They thought I was crazy. And just do it. It just seemed like every time it was like,
Yeah.
right? And then moving, doing all the right things. And then they're like, we're not going to help you. So it's like, now I have to do even more work, right? I have to learn how to make products and how to, make these things to help my son's conditions, right? And I'm like, dear Lord, I'm tired, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is not fair, right?
Yes.
Why would you do this to me? And then I'm like, I now have so much knowledge, so much herbal knowledge, so much alternative medicine knowledge, so much pediatric cancer knowledge, autism, just all the things, because so many other parents were like, hey, I'm having problems with my kid. Do you think you can help? I'll try, because I understand what you're going through, right?
Yeah.
And it's very sad to me that, again, as single moms, we get discarded. Our lives are 50 times harder than our counterparts, right? We're still dealing with the, we get paid less than men. Men want to sexually, assault us and do weird stuff in the workplace, right? All these different things. Men get promotions faster than women, right? So it's like adding on more and more unfairness, right?
Yeah.
Not fair. But there is a way to rise above. Life is not fair. It's not fair that my son got cancer, right? And all of yours didn't. Well, I'm really happy that life's not fair.
I did.
Right? I would hate for everybody's child to have had cancer.
But I got cancer.
Right? Like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
So I think for people to, to be able to just take that internally and be able to say, every single thing on your journey that comes to you, you have got to see it as, what can I do to turn this lemon into lemon meringue pie?
Yeah.
Because things are always going to come, right? But if I would have, taken this all in a bad way and be like, oh, I'm just going to go get a waitress job or a secretary job or, whatever it was, put myself in debt, trying to go to nursing school, right? All the normal jobs women do, I would not have been able to accomplish what I have in life. So it's through, believing in ourselves. I understand the world doesn't believe in us. That's all right. They don't need to. They really don't. As long as we believe in ourselves and we take care of ourselves, right? Eat good foods, get good sleep, get out in the sunshine, do things that make your heart happy, right? Women are a very, very powerful species. We really are. We create life. So
Absolutely.
if we can just take care of ourselves, get in the right mindset, you and me and all the other women watching this, we are capable of super incredible things. You just have to believe in yourself.
Yeah, and do something out of your life. Stop hitting. Just look back. What can I learn from that situation I just went through? And then make the best of it.
Yep. And a lot of times, I think it's hard for us to get to that point because situations hurt. When people lie to us, when they do bad things to us, when they do things against our children, right? All of these things really hurt, right? And, like, we think our children are all amazing. We think everybody should love them and want to be a part of their lives. But a lot of our family members don't.
Yeah.
Right? That's a very big example. And so, I always try to tell women, as long as you and your children, right, are living a happy, healthy life, nobody else really matters.
Yeah, it's only always about me, not even about my kids. It's only about me, and as you said a few minutes ago, life happens for us. So just take a look what just happened. What can I take from that situation? And what is the gift? Sometimes we recognize the gift days or weeks later, but it can be a gift to be a single mom. You said you didn't have to discuss when you had to make a decision. And so there are so many other gifts. For me, I had also cancer. For me, it was a gift when my husband left me that I started developing myself. I didn't do that before.
Yeah.
So,
And, that's another really big issue is, if you are a woman, right, we are all taught that we should be looking for Prince Charming, right? That we should, find a nice man, get married, have children, right? All these different things. And nobody really ever be a good mom, be a good wife, learn how to cook, learn how to clean, learn how to sew, learn how to, rear and raise a family and all that, right? But no one ever really taught us about taking care of ourselves, our mental health, our physical health, our emotional health, right? Because, and I think the reason why is because we are called to take care of everybody else.
yes, that's an absolute problem.
So we don't develop ourselves, our hobbies, our interests. Now there's some women that do, and high five to them, right? But it seems like the rest of us get lost in servitude.
Yeah. I once read a quote on Facebook saying, when you should name everything you love, when would you mention yourself? And I thought I wouldn't mention myself at all. I hadn't thought of mentioning myself in this case. So yeah, that's so crazy. We always think about the kids, the husband, the animals we have, our house or apartment, the job and everything. But we are always on the last place.
And, another big thing that I've, come to realize is even women do this as well, right? If a woman is, living her best life, right? Taking care of herself, right? Going to the gym, doing Pilates, right? Tanning, whatever it is, eating good foods, and taking care of their kids and, doing all the little crafts and they have the best Halloween costumes, right? All this, just all that oh, wow. Okay. Right. There's so many women that tear down women, right? Prime example. And, it's really funny. I had to have this conversation with my mother not too long ago. And at first she didn't like it, right? And then it was 15 minutes later, she was like, oh my God, you're right. That, all the time, I'm celebrating my life and me, right? Number one, I used to be a heroin addict. I've been sober for 12 years. I was a very bad person when I was a drug addict. So I celebrate that every year on my sobriety date, right? Every year on my birthday, I get very nice fancy dresses and I go do, some type of photo shoot or whatever it is. And that's mainly because I was given 6 months to live in January of 2020 because of my colon cancer and gastroparesis and wasting syndrome. Because I refused chemotherapy and radiation, I was like, I'm going to do this. And I did, but it was through the eye of the needle's camel or whatever that saying is. So I had to tell her that, number one, if anybody ever, just read my autobiography, right? I wish there was a little pop-up that it was hi, I'm Sierra, right? I was a heroin addict. I had colon cancer. Look at this picture of me, skin and bones and in a wheelchair. I was in a wheelchair for 2 years, right? And so I'm, we're off at this event, right? So that's just the backstory so you can understand. So we're off at this event and I'm oh my God, it's such a lovely day, right? Oh my gosh, Brad just walked up this hill. Yeah. And my mom's like, you just love yourself, don't you? You just, why are you always taking pictures of yourself? And you're just always acting like you're so pretty. And I said, number one, Wendy, you're being real disrespectful, bitch. Number one, you don't have to be a bitch, but you're choosing to be one, and you're my mom. I said, number two, you've been doing this to me my whole life.
Mhm.
You don't want to love me the way that I love me. You don't want to be like, oh, Sierra, right? So why do you care that I am practicing self-love?
Mhm.
Number one. Number two, as a woman, why are you like saying anything about how I look, how I dress, a photo? Why are we tearing women down as women? Don't we have enough people in the world doing that to us? And
Mhm.
number three, why don't you love yourself?
Yeah.
Why is this such a weird thing? And I told her, you've been doing this for so long in my life that you make it seem like self-love is a crime. And maybe that's why I didn't do it. But I told her, I've watched you my whole life be a servant to your husband, my dad, right? And then to your husband now. She's been married my whole life. I'm 36. And be servants to me and Sterling. You know, are in the church. So you're serving there, right?
Mhm.
I'm not doing any of that. I just want to love me, right? And it bothers you so badly because you don't take care of yourself.
Yeah, that's why she's judging you, because she sees you're doing it, and deep in her heart, she would like to do it as well.
Yeah. And she was like, well, I have a husband to take care of. And I was like, well, I have bills to pay on my own. Right. Because I told her, Wendy, and I've actually had to tell a lot of people this concept as well. Not everybody is going to receive the same blessings in life. Right. So prime example, a lot of, people that have had children with cancer, they passed away.
Mhm.
Mine did not.
Yeah.
So I received a blessing that they did not. A lot of those people have husbands. I do not.
Yeah.
So this whole comparing or looking at people or doing anything, the only reason anybody, and I told her, Wendy, the only reason anybody does it is hurt people. Because everywhere I go, I'm like, you look so great. I love your shoes. I love your hair because I love myself.
Mhm.
So I'm
Absolutely.
exuding that out. But if you feel like you're overweight, you're going to be like, that she needs a cheeseburger.
Mhm.
If you feel like you're getting older and you didn't take care of your skin and you're getting wrinkles and stuff, right? You'll be like, oh, she must have Botox. It must be nice to be young, right? Some lady the other day said that to me, and I'm like, ma'am, I'm almost 40. She was like, what? I said, you're being mean. I'm not 25, but I appreciate that you think I have nice skin, but you don't have to be mean.
Mhm.
Right? I'm not that young. I'm not what most people would call young. In fact, my son's friends call me old and uncool. Oh, I am cool. I am a cool person. Not to them, right? So, but it's very interesting to me that misery loves
Mhm.
company.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're always in a bad mood, always thinking bad and negative, you get more of it.
That's right. So I try very hard to just keep my, my self-love contained, right? Keep it right in here. I don't need to give it away. I don't need to love everybody else's self. I need to love me, but also keep up a force field to where people can't try to slaughter it out of me or make me feel like I have ego and pride or whatever because I want to take care of myself, because I want to love myself, right? And again, nobody knows what anybody else has been through, right, in this life, unless you know that person. So if people just asked me, right, what I've been through and why I'm celebrating myself so much, they probably wouldn't make an ass out of themselves
Mhm.
because everybody wants to talk about drug addiction. It's a very hot topic, right? Well, what happens when we recover? Are we not allowed to celebrate it?
Mhm.
Right? And
Yeah.
so it's almost like having a baby. Imagine if everybody that ever lost a baby in a miscarriage told us that we couldn't celebrate having a baby.
Yeah.
It seems weird, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it
Well,
is a very big thing in our society.
it's really amazing, and thank you so much, because I also had cancer and I never celebrated myself for going all through all that. No. So
You should.
yes, I will. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
A lot of people don't, survive. They don't dig deep and fight and get back, right? And plus, you look great.
Yeah,
I mean,
thank
I can't see if you're sitting in a wheelchair or anything, but
you.
you
No.
look great. Like you do not look sick. You don't look like you were sick. That is such an accomplishment. You should be so freaking proud of yourself. You really should. You did that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's something to celebrate. Like, why do we all feel like, the things that are celebrating is a task done?
Mm-hmm.
So like, oh, I graduated college. Congratulations. Right? Oh, I had a baby, or oh, I'm getting married. Why does it have to be an action that we're doing with something outside of ourselves? Right?
Yeah.
We should be celebrating what we are accomplishing inside of ourselves so much more, because it's harder to do. It is way easier to go take a college class than to go through cancer.
Absolutely.
It really is. And I know that a lot of people have passed away. In fact, I am every year on my son's cancer-free celebrations, I have moms that will comment and say that this is disrespectful. I'm rubbing it in people's faces that their children passed away. And I tell them, God giveth and he taketh away.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I have been sitting there praying to God to save my baby? And please help me, dear Lord, please help me. We had whole groups on Facebook praying for Landon. We had whole churches praying. And then to be like, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm just never going to say anything again. Thank you. One good time, right? No. And so I will always be very thankful, because this was my reality.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And this isn't him now, but he's a lot bigger now. But
Yeah.
right. But he's such a, oh, look, that one's cute too.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a, a vibrant, awesome person.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just, like I said, if we all don't love ourselves, if we all don't see, the benefit in working hard on yourself and in putting the effort into yourself, right? Not to other people. Now, our children is a different situation, right? We have to pour into them.
Yes, but
not other
so
people.
many, yeah, but so many women pour everything in their children, and that's not good as well. First themselves and then the children, because only if you are really strong in yourself and feel good and everything, then you can give.
Yes, but if we don't take care of ourselves, we won't be there for our children, right? Or grandchildren. And that's a very, it's very important to ensure longevity for our families, right? If we teach ourselves to be healthy and we do it, right, then we are teaching our children just through example, right? So prime example, my mom smoked cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then me and my brother also smoked cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like the thing to do, right?
But my whole family also smoked, and I did never.
Good for you.
I tried only once. I hated it.
You're like, ugh. Right? I don't know why we ever did, right? Yeah. But just because children are sponges and they are going to do what they see, right? Not what we say.
Yeah.
So I've learned that just through my mom and, just all the different things, right? The little like idiosyncrasies, like characteristics that she does that I have too, that I'm like, why do I act just like my mom? But that's because that's where you learn everything. And my dad, right? And so I taught Landon, from the time he was very small, that sugar feeds cancer, because it does. Sugar feeds all cells, and cancer cells consume glucose about 400 times faster than a regular cell. So, and that's just the science of it. All to say, sugar feeds cancer, right? So I taught him, the only types of juices, right, my son really has ever drank besides in that dang hospital are like this, like ones that I make, right, in a juicer. He won't eat cupcakes. He won't eat McDonald's. He won't eat Taco Bell. He won't eat candy. He's not drinking sodas. And everyone's like, oh my God, Sierra, how did you get him to do this?
Mm-hmm.
I just never gave him the other shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Once he got cancer, that was it. Game over. So just through building that habit, right, in Landon, now he doesn't do it. And he's about to be 15. So if we can do it by example, right, it's with everything, right? And so teaching ourselves to care about ourselves is teaching our children to care about themselves too.
Yes.
None of us want our children to go through what we have gone through.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like the biggest consensus on this planet.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. That's very deep insights and impacts. And if everybody listened very carefully, everybody could learn a lot. And that's so helpful when we start working on ourselves, self-love, and being more calm and have belief, then we can handle much more in our life.
We can. And, I do a lot of research on just a lot of different things, but mainly everything that has to do with what I call the MBS, mind, body, and soul health, because I think they're all connected. And something interesting that I found through a group of researchers that were studying some of the oldest living people on the planet with no health problems, right, is that they all believed in faith.
Yeah.
They did not believe in the same one, right? But they all believed in something, and just having faith, just having that knowing inside of them that there was a higher power, right, that they could call upon, that they could run to in a time of need, right? All these different things, it made them live longer.
Yeah.
And I mean like 25 years longer than their counterparts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that right there is incredible to think that just if you can, believe in faith that something or someone created all this and all of us, right? And it is guiding us and helping, right? And then also, everyone that came before you, all your ancestors, right? Guardian angels, whatever you want to believe in, right? It really does do something to your DNA. It makes you just get through life easier. And I'm not saying that it's true or not true. Everybody can believe whatever they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just getting through this life easier is what we all need to be trying to do, because it's already hard enough just trying to get through it.
Yeah. Have faith in something that is out there, but also have faith in yourself.
Yes. Yep. And that's, that's the second part I wanted to talk about, is a lot of people, and especially women, I think, want to have this like external, right, belief in faith that something or someone else is going to come save them.
Yeah.
Like Prince Charming. Oh, once I find a good husband. Oh, right. No, we are who we've been looking for. All we have to do is invest in ourselves, invest in our education, our mental health, our hobbies, our likes, our children, whatever it is. And then everything else will fall into place. Right. But we did not come to this planet, any of us that are women, to serve men.
No, we are not. Not our task.
Now, in fact, the only time I say that that's true is if you have a male child. Because when I tell you, my son bosses me around more than any man would ever think that he could in his life. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, I used to tell people when they're like, are you ever going to find, a nice man to date? And I'm like, for what? I've got a little teeny husband in there. And then right on cue, he'd be like, Sierra Lynn, where are you? What's for dinner? I'm all, see? So that's the only time we have to serve men, is if we create one.
Yeah.
Right. But other than that, we didn't come here to just have babies and do housework, right? Women are very capable. We're astronauts, we're physicists, we're surgeons, right? All types of things. And we make clothes, right? All types of fun stuff. Yeah. So I think all women need to just dig deep, right? And realize there's so much power in being a woman. Right. Yeah. We have so much amazing, incredible gifts, but you do not have to just be a mom. You can be an entrepreneur. You can be a singer. You can be an artist, right? You could do everything without having children and still be an amazing woman.
Absolutely. Amazing. Thank you so much, Sierra, for sharing that. So have you last words that you want to share with the ladies? Sarah,
tomorrow never comes.
Yeah.
I meet a lot of women that say, I'm going to start working on this tomorrow.
Yes.
Right?
Tomorrow or next week.
I'm going to self-love tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow never comes. Start today. Right? And baby steps, right? Just like we've always told all children. We don't tell them to go from A to Z real quick. We're very patient, kind, and understanding, right? If you can just get outside in nature for 5 minutes, That's not 50 minutes, but it's 5. That's
Yeah.
better than nothing. If you can just take a 10-minute bath, it's not an hour, it's not going to the spa, but it's still something. If you can just take 5 minutes out of your day to do one thing that you like to do, whatever it is, right? And just doing those small things, you will start to feel, I want to do it more. And it's okay to take care of you. You do not have to just sit here and serve everybody and put yourself last. You will face consequences doing that. So please, all ladies, take care of yourselves. Make time for yourself, right? Make time for your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, and your spiritual health.
Great last words. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So yeah, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Ambitious Single Mom Stories of Strength and Success. It's been an absolute pleasure having Sierra share her incredible journey and insights with us today. I hope you found her story as inspiring and empowering as I did. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below sharing your thoughts or any questions you have for our guest. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. All the links and additional resources about Sierra and myself can be found in the show notes below. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue bringing you amazing content. Until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and keep thriving. See you in the next episode.
Thank you for joining us on Ambitious Single Moms, Stories of Strength and Success. Let's embark on this journey together and rediscover the magic in our lives. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for our next episode.